Once again. The virtual option with the swag box may have already been sold out. So if you are interested in doing the virtual option for convention and you want the swag, don't delay. Also, convention tickets for all types go up on August 1st. So if you haven't bought your convention ticket yet, whether it's virtual or in person, we still have room for people in person. We would love to have you join us. It's going to be awesome. Be sure to snag your ticket. Okay. All right, I'm gonna stop talking and I'm gonna turn it over to Tani. Do you need screen sharing privileges? Nope. Okay, perfect.
I think I just have one slide, and Kate's I think gonna share that for me. Thanks, Kate. So I'm kind of gonna keep this short and sweet tonight. One, because I'm getting over a cold, and the more I keep talking, I keep getting these coughing fits. So I'm praying I can kind of get through all this without having a major coughing fit. So I'm gonna apologize in advance if that happens. I got my water right here. But I just kind of wanted to give a shout out to Basil tonight. And for those of you who don't know me, I'm Tani, and I am on Kate's team. And it was kind of funny. I was trying to think about what oil to share tonight, and I was having a really hard time picking at first. I kind of was looking at all my favorite oils at first, thinking, okay, what are my faves? I'll talk about one that I use maybe all the time. And then I was like, oh, I have too many favorites. Like I'm having a hard time picking. And then I was like, okay, maybe I'll go through my oils that I do on the daily basis. I use all the time. And I was looking at my whole counter full of oils. I was thinking, oh, I have a lot. And then I was kind of thinking my favorites are probably a lot of your favorites, and oils that kind of get talked about quite often, or we've gone over. They're the go-to oils. So tonight, after reaching for this oil a couple of times in the last couple of weeks, I thought this would be a great oil to talk about. One, because I just think it's such a great oil to have in your medicine cabinet. I'm so grateful to have this oil, but I don't think it's an oil that's really talked about enough. And it's kind of, for me, kind of like one of those unsung heroes, or like Eliza mentioned, kind of one of those gem of the oil. So I'm just going to hit on a few points tonight and then kind of wrap up and sharing kind of the testimonies of why this oil has been such a great oil to support me and my kiddos and our family and stuff. And I think before, like I always just kind of thought of basil, mainly kind of for cooking. I think a lot of us think about just adding it to our pasta sauces or marinara. I think for me, like when I used to think about basil, the first thing that came to mind was the Capri salad. I don't know if anybody that mozzarella, tomatoes, basil, like that's kind of where my head would always turn every time I would think about basil. But this oil, the nice thing about, besides cooking and those benefits, there's so many more to this oil. So this oil can be used aromatically, topically, and internally. And to be honest with you, before tonight, I hadn't even thought about doing it aromatically. Looking it up on the doTERRA website, they paired it with and recommend for a diffuser blend of geranium and wild orange. And as I'm speaking, I have it in my diffuser right now. And I have to say, it's a pretty sweet blend. It kind of complements each other. You kind of got the basil, which is like that warm, spicy, herbal smell. You have the geranium that has that strong floral smell. And then you have that sweet citrusy from this the wild orange. So I have to say I'm really enjoying this blend. So it's always kind of fun to come up with a new blend. So if you're like me and who's never diffused this oil, maybe give that a try. Like I said, I'm actually really enjoying it right now as I'm talking. So besides that, this oil I would kind of consider more of like a mind and body oil. Due to its high linalool content, it's a great oil to reduce feelings of tension. When you take it internally, it's going to help support your nervous system. And when I think of like the nervous system, two things that kind of come to mind for me are when we're supporting our nervous system, I kind of think of two things, like one with our pain and discomfort. It's going to reduce the pain and discomfort. It's going to calm whatever's maybe aggravated, and then emotionally hitting our nervous system or kind of like calming. And so that's why it's so great to help reduce feelings of tension. Also that feeling of anxious feelings that we have time to time. So if you're feeling that crazy tension feeling, you've had a crazy day at work, you've been sitting in front of the computer, who knows, all things life, there's so many reasons that we can have that tension feeling. This is an oil you're going to want to grab. You're going to want to put on your temples, put on the back of your neck, just to give you that kind of relaxed, not such tense feeling. And it's going to help ease that. It's going back to using it aromatically. It says that it's going to help create a relaxed environment, and kind of goes back to that calming, relaxed state. This oil also helps promote mental alertness. It's said that if you're in have a crazy workload, or you're kind of in that place of needing to focus, you have a task at hand, you want to get it done, but need to stay focused and get it accomplished, this is a great oil to turn to. And I feel like I kind of get that question a lot from people. People always kind of ask, like, hey, what's a great oil for focus? And this is an oil that I wouldn't have normally thought of to turn to. When people ask that, or even for my kids, I kind of think of like other oils that come to mind. But I think what's so great about when we dive into these oils and we learn the education and about the difference of these oils, we learn different benefits. So for me, I feel like I definitely learned that this is an oil that I'll try to incorporate more for that. Not only for me, but like I recommend it to other people. And then even like when my kids are doing homework and need to stay focused, this is a great oil that can be turned to help with that. Like I mentioned before too, it's gonna help lessen those anxious feelings that we all deal with. Another great way that this oil can be used is for monthly feminine discomfort. And that is one of the reasons, and I'll share a little bit more on my testimony afterwards, but that's one of the main reasons why I started ordering this oil, and how helpful it has been supporting me in that area. So if you're somebody who gets those monthly cramps, gets the in between, you're ovulating, or for me, which was ovarian cyst and why I was turning to it, it's an oil that I feel really supports you very well in those areas, and an oil that really works quickly and effectively. And so that's just, one I'll go in more in detail, but that's just for me a huge reason why I love having this in my medicine cabinet. It's also great for all things skin, cooling the skin, for bee stings, for bug bites, rashes, anything that's itchy, anything you can think of skin. It's like that calming. It's just going to help with that aggravant. And I'll share one of my other stories about the skin thing, and how it helped us this last week. But all things skin, it's going to help with that calming itchiness. And like we talked about before, it's great for cooking, and being able to use that benefit as well. But I feel like there's so many oils sometimes that we have that are our go-to all the time. But this is an oil, like I said, I don't use on the day-to-day, but when I do need it and I do turn to it, I'm so grateful for it, and how quickly that it works so well. So 3 of my little testimonies and why I reached for this oil the last couple of weeks was, a couple of years back, I was dealing with some ovarian cyst. It put me in the hospital for 3 days. I came out of the hospital and was trying to figure out how to support myself walking through that. If you've ever dealt with that, it's just beyond painful. I couldn't walk. I had done an ultrasound, and they had realized I had another one. And of course, I was fearful of it ending back in that place, and trying to figure out what I could do to help myself. I had a doctor's appointment, and I walked in and we were talking about stuff and what to do. And she handed me this pamphlet. And as I share this story, I'm not knocking anything, but I'm just sharing my journey. I was just opening this pamphlet and being offered a hormonal drug to help with ovarian cyst. And on the left side of the pamphlet was from top to bottom this whole list of side effects. And I know we've all been there, we've all experienced that. And so I left that day and I came home. I just thought, I wasn't at peace about it. And I didn't feel good about just all the side effects that could take place. And here I'm trying to fix one thing. And anyway, so I started to research a little bit more and dive into how could I possibly first support myself naturally. And when I was doing research, basil came up. And it was really cool to not only see other women who had walked in my shoes and done this whole thing, but how basil had become their go-to oil in helping support them on that. So ever since then, basil is an oil that I always have on hand. I always make sure to have an extra oil. That's how much I don't want to be without it. And it's helped support me over the years every time. Last week I dealt with that discomfort and pain again, and immediately I put that on, and I just feel like the relief comes so quickly. So I'm really grateful to be supported with that for that reason. Also last week, my daughter got a bee sting, and she's had quite a few bee stings, so many that it's kind of like she's at that point where the doctor says, well, she could be one of those kids because she responds and reacts, her body responds so bad that she could be one of those kids that you got to really have to watch. She could go into anaphylactic shock. You never know. It's that one bee sting is the one that could put her over the edge. You never know, And so I've tried to get an EpiPen, and it's so hard to get one if you've ever tried to get one. So basil has become the oil that we carry with us. One, because it's so great just for just bites and all other things, but specifically we use it for bee stings. And sure enough, last week she got a bee sting. And so I had it in my little bag with all my other oils and my Correct-X and all my stuff, and it was my go-to oil for her. So we did other natural solutions of a paste of baking soda and water. We applied that first to draw out the toxins and the bee sting, and then we applied basil. And it's really cool to see when you see it firsthand. When something, normally she swells up tremendously, it's just red, it's inflamed. Like I said, we used other things to support what was going on, but immediately after putting the basil on, the swelling went down. And if you've ever had a bee sting, it's so itchy, like afterwards, just like to the point where it just drives you bonkers. And so we used basil to help with the itchiness, and applied it several times throughout the day and through the night. And it did wonders for her. And it's, I don't know, for me, I guess I get kind of joy out of when the oils work so well, when your kids are like, Mom, where's the basil? I need it. And they become such oily kids that they're asking for the oil by name. But that's an oil that I definitely love having for that. Like I said, I carry it not only for me, but for the kids with the bee stings, and Taylor, specifically my daughter. And then the other thing that we turn to basil quite often is for ear infections. Both my kids had chronic ear infections growing up, and I felt like I was always running to the doctors just because, it's so painful, and trying to help them, and sometimes getting on antibiotics probably a few more times than I like to admit. That's maybe before I was educated on the downside of so much antibiotics. But adding basil with lavender, those two together in a roller, is really great for ear support and ear infections. And I feel like it has saved us so many trips to the doctor's office. And once again, last week, one of my kids got an earache, and that's what we turned to, was the basil oil and the lavender. So like I said, it's not an oil that you might use all the time, but it's definitely an oil that is good to have in your medicine cabinet. And I'm really grateful for basil and just for natural solutions and be able to have these alternatives. And I just wanted to give a little shout out to basil tonight. So I love to kind of hear other ways people use it for themselves or their family. And that's it.
Thanks, Connie. That was so great. I didn't realize my camera was off. That was such a powerful testimony that you shared, and we had a ton of people in the comments. Just kind of where you left off on the ear support. I like to use the kids, like the baby Q-tips, And I just still have some for my kids are younger, and I pretty much only use them during this particular time. So any ear discomfort, myself, the kids, I like to pull the Q-tip top off. I put 1 drop of basil. You could do a drop of lavender, drop of melaleuca, and I just wedge it in the ear and just sleep with it throughout the night. And I mean, every single time, it's crazy. You could also mix those. Tosh said she uses those in her ear blend as well, and then you want to just massage around the ear. You can even put some of the oil on your fingertips and like put it inside the ear. You just never want to actually drop the oil into your ear canal, but basically just massaging it, and always helpful to massage in a way like that the ear naturally drains. Um, what else? Lots of talk about increasing milk supply. So Tasha shared that her breast mama milk production blend is basil, which I did not know that. I knew fennel and geranium. So she mixes those 10 drops of each in a 10 ml roller and tops it with fractionated coconut oil. Kanan said she had a friend that did the same and added copaiba. Another great oil for increasing focus and concentration, similar to basil, is rosemary. So that's not surprising to me. Let's see. I think your particular testimony though, like wow. So you never did go on that medication then? No, never did. Wow, that's amazing. Um, yeah, it definitely is one where you're not going to necessarily use it all the time, but when you want it, you want it. I also want to talk a little bit about the emotional component of this oil, because I've scanned for basil several times, and the basil is the oil of renewal. And so if you are feeling chronic fatigue, overwhelmed, drained, exhausted, basil might be just the oil that you're looking for. So adrenal exhaustion helps identify the main moods that are improved with basil. Primarily fatigue, low energy, being overwhelmed, and the inability to cope with life stressors. The smell, like you kind of talked about, of basil can bring strength to the heart and relaxation to the mind. This oil is also excellent for states of nervousness, anxiousness, and despair. So there's a little bit more here, but the times that I've scanned for basil, and I almost wonder if I scanned myself tonight, if I would scan for it, have definitely been times in my life where I have had extreme exhaustion, fatigue, overworked, mental, physical, all the things. And I just start taking like 4 or 5 drops in a veggie cap a couple times a day for at least a week or two after I scan for that. And really, what I should do is do that and listen to my body and know to do that without the scanner needing, the Itobi needing to tell me that. But I also, for myself, besides ear support, basil is definitely my number one oil. There was a time when I scanned for it a lot. So I just wanted to share with you guys that as well, that that's another and like show of hands, either with emojis or on the screen, who could use some basil right now in their lives for various reasons. So tonight, before Kanan's putting up 2 hands. So tonight before bed, if you feel like that adrenal exhaustion, that fatigue, that overwhelm, all the things, Cami is raising her hand. I'm sure all teacher friends, first day back at school, no kids yet, but I'm sure you're all feeling it. Put a couple of drops of basil in a veggie cap and take that once or twice a day for a week, and support your body naturally. Tawny, thanks for sharing about that oil. I hope one day, I know we always post these, but I hope one day you'd be willing to do that for a Wellness Wednesday right in the customer group, because I definitely feel like basil is an oil that people are not using. So if you haven't signed up for a Wellness Wednesday live, I would love for you to just redo basil. I feel like that would be such a great oil for people to learn about. So thank you so much. And Cammie's gonna try that, and I'm definitely gonna go take a few drops of basil after this. All right, you guys. So let's talk a little bit. Kanan and I did attend Diamond Retreat and it was amazing. But truth be told, I'm pushing for Blue Diamond. She's pushing for Diamond right now. And we just did not have it in us to present and prepare something formal about Diamond Retreat tonight. So we just wanted to open this up to talk about strategies for last minute pushes and also like goals and when does it make sense to, you know, go for a goal, and sometimes maybe we have to let go of goals and being realistic about what we're doing in terms of actually the actions behind the goals that we sometimes set, being realistic about whether or not we're actually doing the work behind those goals as well. And then some of us wanted to just share, and we open and invite this to everyone, a great strategy that you might have for maybe getting some last minute volume, getting enrollments, anything anybody wants to come to the table with insofar as that. So, anybody want to kick it off? Anybody want to talk about their month, things that went well or are going well or you're struggling with? Hmm.
I want to share a little bit. I I had a leaders lunch with my team on Sunday, mostly to celebrate them and thank them for all their hard work. But of course, we talked doTERRA, we talked business. And we just started talking and sharing on how it was a little rough this month. And I'm sure you all felt it, like the BOGOs weren't maybe what we expected or what we hoped for. And it was kind of hard to push for those goals. But that's why when I was talking with Liza, I said, why don't we share on how can we come back from feeling a little in the dumps? Like, oh, why didn't they offer On Guard, or why didn't they offer Deep Blue? But there is a way that we can still hit our goals and recover from that and achieve and push hard. And Liza's going to talk a little bit about that strategy, because I know for myself and my leaders, that was something that we talked about at lunch, is kind of feeling in the dumps that they didn't offer maybe more supplements or maybe a diffuser or just the more common oils, I guess.
Yeah. And sorry, I don't really talk, but I wanted to just briefly talk about the whole BOGO. Yes, it was, for me personally, it was kind of, disappointing, just because in March it was like a big boom, as far as my personal goals in the business, and just oil wise, like the oils they offered were so awesome. And I mean, this BOGO box to me was like okay, but not like everyday use kind, like okay, On Guard or like rosemary, or I don't know, that was just my opinion. But so what I found, what we had to do was be very creative. So whether that was making your own BOGO box, or like for one, not client, customer, I said, okay, well, if you only like 6 of them, then we can do like your own personalized 6. That doesn't mean like I'm gonna do it for like 20 people, but I'm just saying like it really showed how we ought to be creative. It also like helped us kind of think of different kits and boxes to do. So we did like back to school box. We did. I'm just like throwing out there like of just different things that you can do. I'm not saying it will work, but it kind of helped our team as far as being creative and generating more volume, because the BOGO box wasn't as successful as we thought it would.
Thanks, Caleb, for being willing to share. Um, yeah, it definitely was not what it was in March for sure. Um, I'm trying to think how I want to say what I want to say without being, I make a decision to go for Blue Diamond this month so that I can get closer to closing out founders. And I kind of got to a point where I'm like, okay, I'm in, right? And so there's no turning back. So now I am literally working like 12 plus hours a day in between all the things that it seems like I'm doing with my kids to make that happen. And one thing that I'm just realizing that I need to wrap back around to is education. One highlight, and she's not on this call, but I just so happened when I was on Oahu, and whenever I travel, if I'm someplace where you have team members, or if you're there and you want to connect with me or have me support you, I am happy to do that. So Shannon on Fraser's team had a class set up, and I was able to go with her, and Fraser's mom, Auntie Mikey, was also there. And there was a group of, I want to say maybe 8, like definitely older retired women in a gorgeous house in Kailua, unreal. And we got to teach a class, and these people had zero knowledge. These women had zero knowledge of essential oils. And I have to tell you guys a funny story. There was the oldest woman, I want to say maybe in her 90s, Marilyn. She had the best one-liners. So her first one was when we were past Girl Frankincense, and she was like, well, listen, if it's good enough for Jesus, then it's gonna be good enough for me. But it was like coming from like a 90-year-old. It was hilarious. The other one was somebody asking about non-toxic like deodorant options, and she's like, oh honey, just get old enough and you don't even have to worry about deodorant anymore. But Shannon and I left that class, and I think she was like, I love that. She had never taught a class before. She had never done anything in person. And it made her realize how much she enjoyed that. And it made me realize that I really want to return to that. That's how I started building this business. And the way that we've gone, we had incredible success in 2020 as a community. And in 2021, it's been sort of the opposite. And people aren't showing up to classes. And I think everyone can be honest. I mean, I'm very honest. Like, I wasn't really inviting to classes. Maybe I was kind of over the online, you know, whatever format. So I know looking forward that that's really what I'm going to be focusing on, is returning to in-person classes for people that feel comfortable. I think we still need to have an option for online here and there, but yeah, that was really, really filling for my soul. So I'm going to share my one strategy that I've done. I use ECC and currently Project Broadcast. They are moving to a new format. And what ECC is it's basically content. And what Project Broadcast is a texting service. So you upload all of your contacts into this texting service, and then you can schedule texts to go out. Those of you that use Hit 'em Up, it's similar, except Hit 'em Up, you're manually sending that text to everybody. Project Broadcast literally takes your content and sends it out. So some of you get my Project Broadcast stuff. Some of you maybe get your leaders Project Broadcast stuff. I know Kanani's been waiting to do it, but they're making a switch from Project Broadcast to Rally. Oh, and you can schedule it on Project Broadcast. Yes, Jai. And so anyway, I went and took all the legs where I needed volume. I put that into Project Broadcast. I made sure to send them the daily BOGO deals. And then I've been doing my build your own BOGO. So basically the way this works, it can work 2 ways. That's so funny, Jai, that you would not recommend Project Broadcast. I'm kind of scared about the switch over to Rally, to be honest. This time around with Project Broadcast, I had 0 issues with deliverability though. So maybe they're working out the kinks. But anyway, so build your own BOGO can work in a couple of ways. I need a ton of volume. I started off BOGO week with being short about 24,000 in volume. Okay. So that's a lot to make up. So Jai said he wouldn't recommend it. Well, that's not making me feel better. Okay, so build your own BOGO. the way that I'm currently doing it, because I need so much volume, I don't need that much now. I think I'm down to about 5,000. I'm closing the gap slowly but surely. But after BOGO week, I'd only closed about half of that. And so that's still, you know, you still have a long way to go and no more BOGOs, no more BOGO box. So I'm doing build your own BOGO. And because I need so much volume, I'm having them order the BOGOs on their accounts, which basically means they can choose whichever products they want. And I'm going to have them order it all on their account. And then I reimburse them for the lesser item. Now, I want to say this. I can afford to do that. This is not a strategy that people, if you're not getting a certain type of paycheck, I would recommend. However, you can still do it with two different ways: your stash of oils and products that you have, or with your points. And what's nice about when you use points, so you can have the person order on their account the thing that they're buying, and then with your points, you can get it shipped directly to them, the freebie. Or if they're on Maui, you know, you can get it shipped and you can deliver it to them, or wherever you're at, you can deliver it to them. So this strategy is one that, you know, I've used throughout the years, and depending on my I guess my ability to buy in or what I'm willing to spend. Back in the day, I would do it and I would use points for the products. Or a lot of times, like right now, I don't know about you guys, but I have like 5 breed touches. So sometimes you could offer specific things. Like if you buy at least a 30 PV oil, you can choose from these 4 or 5 things, and it can be things that you already have in your stash. Okay. So that is one of the strategies that I like to use. And today I got someone on one leg. And again, I want you guys to keep in mind, I can afford this. My Blue Diamond bonus will be more than enough to cover this. This is not a strategy, but I had somebody place almost 800 PV order, which I needed badly. And I reimbursed her, I think around 350. Again, I can do that, but that got me a lot of volume. And the truth is, if I did it in points, I still would have gotten about 400 in volume, and I still I have 350 points, believe me, to spend on product for somebody if I don't have it in my own stash. So if you want that text template or the graphic that I use, let me know if you're trying to close out anything and you want to use that. So that's my strategy. Anybody else want to talk about or share any of their closing of the month strategies? Or
Liza, I can speak. I think it's, for me, it's like not giving up, because there are times where you're just sometimes feel like, oh my gosh, right? But just pressing forward and keep working and keep connecting. And even I, like, my goal too this month was to get some enrollments. And so, I mean, I did invite people and people showed up, but for me, because they're close family and friends, like one of Dre's college friends, I gifted her the membership, you know, and then she got the extras because she ordered 150, and she'll get the bonus bucks next month. So like, I just feel like sometimes you want to just like give in and say, oh, I'm not going to make it, but just like push forward. Yeah.
thanks, Mai. I gotta give you and Jai a big plug though, because you guys are crazy consistent and you help me to be consistent as well. And you also have very much, I feel similarly, like if I have to give, I'll give. If I have to give, I'll give, right? And it's going to come back around. So we want people to make money. We are in the business of making money. But at the same time, if you're going to make money and you can give to people who maybe need a leg up or a little bit of help, like that always comes back around, I think, as well. So I wanted to kind of give a little bit of a plug for that. So, and if you feel like you need to give somebody a free membership of $35 and that's not something that's in your wheelhouse, Sephora, talk to your upline and talk to your upline's upline, because there's a good chance that, you know, we can make any of that work, you know. Anybody else?
I want to add to what Miley said about not giving up. I remember the first time that I got my 1500, and it was just like borderline. It was 2 days left or 3 days left. I don't know what. And I reached out to Kanani and I reached out to Liza to just say, what can I do? You know, it was a BOGO month, but BOGOs were done, but I still needed a lot of volume. And I ended up doing a BOGO, which was buy one, get, and they could choose whatever they wanted. And part of me was like so scared because I ended up, you know, buying LLVs, right? So I had to remember to watch the PV and the dollar amounts. But I guess my whole thing was I didn't give up, and when I got that 1500, it just felt so good. So it was a real push, you know, to just step outside of my comfort zone. But it all came back. I mean, you know, it just all came back in a lot of ways. So yeah, don't give up, just like Miley said.
Anybody want to share anything that's working, anything they're struggling with this month or in general?
Okay, I'll go since
Yay.
Kanani is texting me to
Oh,
go.
that's so funny.
Oh my God, I really don't even know what I'm gonna say, but I mean, I guess just knowing myself, I just know that the biggest struggle is gonna be after BOGOs, because I know myself and I know that I get all lit up with BOGOs, and I know that it wasn't as exciting as like the last box. Um, but the biggest push will be for me to just like stay consistent. And I just need to channel my inner Miley and Jai, because I totally get that from you guys too. I mean, all of you guys too, like Liza, Kanani, Kate, you guys are all, well, I guess I shouldn't say names because you guys are all great. But anyways, I know for me personally, that'll be my biggest challenge, but I think just actually reaching out to people, because the reality of people replying to my story or replying to posts is like slim to none. Like it has to be like me personally reaching out to them. And even then, my other challenge personally is like I'm sensitive Sally, and I get so sad when they don't reply or even just like my message. And there's a ton of that. But I think like I'm so focused on trying so hard to push for this goal that I haven't even been really focused on those people that are not responding to me. So hopefully I can keep that trend going. So anyways, but yeah, Caleb's ideas as far as the wellness boxes, that has been a really great push. The cleaning box, and then I'm trying to put together, I'm so out of practice with Canva, but I'm trying to put together like a pain kit too, and just try to think of like things that people will automatically relate to and want to buy, because at this point I'm just like, you know, taking orders. You know, it's not even a focus on enroll. Like Caleb reminded me at our little luncheon, sometimes they need to like buy first and build the connection before they enroll. And yeah, so focusing on that. Okay, that's all.
No, that's so good, Marissa. Thank you. Because I think, I mean, if we all silently rate ourselves on a scale of 1 to 10 in consistency when it comes to your business, I think it's a pretty safe bet that most of us would rank ourselves rather low. I mean, you guys would be surprised. I rank myself pretty, I mean, I would not I'd probably be about a 7. Like I could do better. I think we could all do better, right? And it all depends. Like I hold myself to a high standard. Like I think I should be at a 9 or 10 all the time. That's my own personal issue, but I'd probably rank myself a 7. And I know Tani, who I love dearly, would say like, Liza, you're being too hard on yourself. Like you're way better than us. You know, so a lot of that is our own perception, but we all struggle with that. And we all have ups and downs, and it's what you do when you're down. Like, do you get back up and do you show up, you know? And I will say that even though I might not always feel like I'm a 9 or 10, I always show back up. Kanan said it's so important to know the audience, what do they need? Yes, absolutely. Going back to what you said though, Marissa, it's so important because sometimes too, and I have to learn this, I know after March I was so burnt out. Like that was such a hard month for me that even though this month is harder, I'm not allowing myself to get that burnt out as I did the last time. So you got to take care of yourself too. Another thing I wanted to talk about that Marissa shared about is the not focusing on enrollments. I'll agree with that, but I want to say like that if you can just get products into people's hands for them to fall in love with them, that's totally, totally great. But one thing I do want to bring up is just, it kills me how many people I see every single month leave money on the table. So when I say this, this is what I mean. If you hit the rank of premier and you are eligible to make that $200 empowerment bonus, it not only for the volume that you probably need to hit your goals, but also for the sheer fact that that's money that's just being left on the table is definitely something I see happening a lot in our community. And if you are not enrolling, you are not building this business. That might sound harsh, you guys, but that is the reality. If you're not enrolling people with memberships, if you're not enrolling them in LRP, both of them matter. And both of them to me are enrollments. One is the first enrollment, one is the second enrollment. But if you're not doing that, you're not building this business. You're not building, you're literally not building your community, building your team, building your volume, building your paycheck. Like you're not building this business. So supporting is really critical, but the enrollment part is important. And when I say that, I'm also talking about getting people on LRP, which means if you're feeling stuck in enrolling, go back to the people that you've already enrolled and connect with them and get them, you know, they've already said yes. So they're already sold, but they just might need more support. But yeah, that's something I see happening a lot. And, you know, Kanan's saying always lead with education. And I have to say that I don't feel like I have the last few months. I think I've been leading with the deals, you know, here's the deals. Let me give you the deal. I'll give you this, I'll give you that. And I'm kind of like, after this month, I'm going to take a little bit of a hard pause on that and return to what I feel like was what gave me initial success and the most of my success, and also really filled my soul and my cup, I think, with this business. And I think the online platform has defaulted us to want to catch people's attention with our social media posts or whatever. And it's caused us to sort of veer away from what we're really about at the core, which I think is the education. So that's just my personal feeling and my own personal journey. Yes, Marissa, I am right where you are. I have not been focused on enrolling. I did get a couple of enrollments, but I have not been focused on enrolling. I want to say this though, and I say this every time, I swear people don't believe me, but I literally enrolled somebody, you guys, that I've been talking to on IG for 3.5 years. No joke. Don't know this person, connected on IG, shared information time and time again. I was somewhere, I can't remember where. Oh, I was at a baseball game and she commented on my story about how the player's butt that was in the shot of my game and like how he was her favorite player or whatever. And so it allowed me to open up the conversation. She ended up enrolling finally. I must have sent her like 15 links over like the course of how many years. She finally enrolled with a Healthy Habits kit. I checked on her today. She's loving LLV. She's like, I don't know if it's in my head, but after 5 days, I feel fantastic. I'm like, no, girl, it's not in your head. LLV is amazing. And I'm so stoked. So don't give up on those people that ghost you. Don't give up. When they are ready, you want to be there. Because if you're not there, somebody else will be. Okay. Let's see. Cami asks, oh, this is such a good question. I don't know who wants to tackle this first. How do you motivate your team members who are not doing the business so you're unable to rank up? Anybody want to take that? It's a big one. I want to know that too, Caleb says. I love it. You guys want me to just go? I mean, I can go, but Kanani, Kate, this is definitely one I want you guys to chime in on, but I'll take it first. Okay, you're gonna go?
I'll jump in. I have been a little quiet, but I think this question kind of is connecting to what I've been thinking of saying. This month is a little both wonderful and a little disappointing. For me, I was going for a big goal, and we had a really amazing event with my team at the beginning of the month, kind of mid-month, right before BOGOs, and it was incredible. And one of the things we talked about at the end of it was something I read on one of our Diamond Club things about how when you get to these ranks of like platinum, diamond, you are there because you built a community. So thinking about your question, Cami, like how do you get people motivated that aren't quite in the business or disordering? You want to start finding ways to build community with those people. So it's all about those relationships. And you know, those might be your people to do the business. They might not be. I know for a fact on my team, I've had a lot of people that have come and gone, but I always invested that time with them, that relationship with them, and creating that community. I came back to that again and again. So what I recommend to you, I know it sounds a lot simpler, like build a community, go make relationships, but connect, and do so on a deeper level than just like, hey, what's your goal this month? What are you going to do? Like meet with them, offer them your support of real support. Like, let's do a class together. Let's just have a lunch and get to know each other more. I mean, I look at Kanan and Liza and all my people on here too. We've experienced so many things together that have helped us build that community, whether it's events, whether it's, you know, just meeting up. But that, I don't know if this is going to help, but that's what I would lean on, is just build a relationship, build your community. Because then you get to a place where Liza is, and she's there because she has helped teach us how to build our own communities and our own teams. So yeah, that's kind of the model. And thinking back on my goal, I know it's going to happen, and I know I've built an incredible community and I love them so hard, and I'm so proud of them. Even I know a few of them kind of feel the same way with their goals this month. And for me, I just came to a point about a week ago, and I thought, you know, it's going to happen. It's not going to happen right now. It wasn't the right timing for, you know, some of our lives. It wasn't the right timing for with this BOGO, but that's okay. We still have some amazing things happening. I know we still have some people meeting amazing goals. Bernice hit elite, and I know Zaisha's hit elite as well, and she's going for another goal too. So I feel all the feels. I felt them all this week, all kinds of things, because I'm an achiever. I don't know if you guys did your strength test, and so that it was a little bit of a hump getting over it, but I, had a great talk with Liza the other day, and it really made me feel like it just wasn't the right time. So we're going to keep going. We're in it for the long haul. This isn't a quick kind of get rich thing. And it's not about getting rich. It's about that educating. It's about those relationships, the community. So lean hard on that. And if you can't find that with those people, Cami, you need to find some more people. Find your community.
All right. You want to go, Kanan, or you want me to go?
I don't know if I have anything, I guess, in addition, well, anything extra in addition to say. I feel like Kate is right. Building close knit community is very, very important. I try to meet with my leaders often. That's kind of a big deal for me. And I want them to always know how much I appreciate them. And I think leading with love and leading with gratitude is really important. There's no pure Ohana wellness. There's no, there's nothing without your community, right? And I have to always thank my leaders for sticking by my side, because this business is hard. That's the true reality. It's not easy. Like, I think majority of us on here didn't just say, yes, I want essential oils and I am gonna run hard with this business. I mean, I know I didn't. I just wanted my kids to be healthy. That's all I wanted. Like, I wasn't trying to do another business. I'm a dental hygienist. Like, I'm fine. I love my job. I'm good at my job. Like, I'm good with teeth. But I fell in love so hard with the company, not just the product. And it was something I think I was looking for, but I didn't know I was looking for it. Because when you find something that it has so much integrity, you want it, right? You want people with integrity. You want to resonate with a company that leads with integrity. So I think getting back to all of that is really, really important. Like the love, the compassion, the integrity. What do you stand for? Of course you want to make money. Absolutely. If you're pouring in 10 hours a day to this business, let's say, or whatever, maybe you're only pouring in 2 hours a day. It's still time, and time is money. But we have to go back to why you started it and what made you want to do this. It wasn't the money, right? It was really just you loving it, and you're loving to share, and you're loving to educate, and you're always just trying to help. I feel like that's the thing, I want to help. And when we came up for my team, when we came up with particularly this kids wellness box that we've been promoting, and it's been a big hit, that is really what my passion is. I've always wanted to help mommies and children. And I shouldn't just say mommies. There's a lot of single dads out there that are amazing. But my whole passion is I want to help children. I want to empower mothers to look at natural solutions, because I was not that person. So that may not have answered your question, but that's kind of what I was thinking when Kate was talking.
Thanks, you guys.
Can
Okay.
I butt in?
Oh, yeah, please.
So with Kate saying, building the community, I would say build your community, get your people together. We had a get together at Kate's house, and we all revisited our why. And that was really, really helpful for us with BOGO week the next week, so that we could all put our goals down. We could revisit our whys, why we're in this. That was a really big help. I think it helped so much that I had a really big goal of silver. And I just I'm kicking myself in the butt, because I can't reach a big goal if I'm not out there sampling and inviting. And so that's my big kick, is that, how am I going to reach that goal if I'm not even doing the small work? Like, my pipes are broken, so how am I going to reach the top? So Cami, building your community, getting together with them, doing things together, revisiting your why, that's gonna help your leaders to push so that you can rank up too.
Well, now I'm not sure I want to share because that was so freaking amazing. Thank you, Zaisha. That was so awesome, so reflective, so honest. I love that. My pipes are broken. How am I even going to reach those goals? And, I think all of us, I know my pipes feel broken right now. I feel like I've abandoned what got me to where I am and what feels really good for me in this business. But I do want to give my 2 cents because you don't motivate people. I don't motivate Kate or Miley or Kanani. Those are people I'm looking at right now. They have their cameras on. I don't motivate them because they're self-motivated. I'm self-motivated. I don't need to be motivated. But what I do and what I've always done and what I pride myself in is that I show up and I support them. So unfortunately, the harsh reality is you can't motivate people. They have to be so strong in their why. You have to be so strong in your why. And then you have to be showing up and consistently doing the work. I've asked this of 3 different leaders this month, and it sounded kind of harsh when I asked it, and I didn't mean it to be harsh. But the reality is, are you showing up as a leader? Are you doing the work? Are you being the person that other people see show up and be consistent? And so they're like, I want to partner with that person, because some people are waiting around for other people to do the work. This month I wanted Blue Diamond, and that was going to be regardless of whether or not other people wanted it or if I had to make it happen on my own. That's my goal. I would hope that my 5 qualifiers wanted gold. That's what I would hope. But if that's not their goal, I made it my goal. So it sounds really brutal, but it's true. Do you show up consistently? Do you do the work? Are you leading by example? You don't wait for others. If you want it, you go and do it. And Miley, her comment was, Miley's comment was, I just want to find a builder. I have no doubt that Miley is going to find her right builders in her right time, because she shows up. Her and Jai show up so consistently. So it's just a matter of time before their builders come up. And actually, we're going to start that journey together in finding them some builders. So I don't want to be harsh. I am in the same boat as everybody else, trying to figure out how to fix my broken pipes. But one thing I know is that I always show up and I always do the work, and I don't wait around for other people to do it for me. And, we're not going to do another community calendar in August because I don't think it's fair to pour time into something where people aren't showing up. So what does that mean? That means if you want to grow your business, get some classes on the books. Start inviting people. Start really inviting people to learn. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go back to those basic things. And I'm going to invite my leaders to do that with me. And I hope that they do. And I hope that they want to. But if they don't, I'm still going to do it. Zaisha, did you want to say something else? Your hand is up.
Oh, no.
Oh. All right. So, I think a lot of what this business is a lot of what Zaisha just showed us, being vulnerable, being honest, being real, and being reflective. Are you the leader? Are you leading in a way that other people are going to be like, oh man, I want to join this person? Or are you waiting for people to show up so then you'll show up? I think that that's what's really hard. And the reality too is, Cami, is that you said people were all in and then they dropped off. Life happens. People's whys change. Maybe they don't really truly embrace the product and realize how amazing the product is. And so therefore, there's a million reasons. Kate talked about it earlier. She's replaced one frontline position more times than I'm sure she'd like to talk about. That's just the reality of this business, but it hasn't stopped her from, keeping on. And so I love that you've taken this month to reconnect with your customers. And I just want to put this out there that one thing that I constantly worry about is that people get left behind, that people feel like we are here. There is somebody always here to support you in this team. If you're willing to show up, if you want to show up, if you want to do the work and you feel like you don't have that support system to help hold your hand, to help, not hold your hand, but help hold you accountable, push you, motivate you, reach out to one of us. You know, Ray wants to do a serious DMO group again this month. We did it and I loved it. So if that's something that you want, we can connect you with a group of people that can help you. Might not be your own leaders. Oh no, you're fine. Cami just wrote, her why has changed since the beginning. I think I need to find myself feeling somewhat lost. I appreciate everyone sharing. Sorry, I can't, it says injure, but maybe just talk right now. But thank you. No, we appreciate your question. It's a great question. And I don't know if you saw the comments, but a lot of people want to know that too. And so I would challenge you to reflect on that. And if in your reflection you go, yeah, my pipes are broken, I'm not doing A, B, and C as a leader. And also, this is one thing I want to say, and I'm so guilty of it. You guys, we got to get beyond feeling like because we sent somebody a text that is somehow connecting with them. Oh, I texted them. Oh, I texted them. I texted them. You know, we need to make, I think, a little bit more of an effort. And I'm speaking for myself for sure. And that's what I want to do, to really connect again with people. So, yeah, I love the hard question. And I hope that it helps us all to reflect and move forward on our business. Because like Kate said, I'm in this for the long haul. This is a marathon, not a sprint. And I am a doTERRA lifer, business and product. So I hope that you guys continue to feel the same way. Go out and keep slaying your goals. And please reach out to us. There's always someone to support you in this community. All right, you guys, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. We love you all. Thank you so much for joining us. Let's take a quick pick. We've lost a couple of people. I'm not sure if they're over it. All right. Oh, such a sweet picture. Okay, ready? Smile. All right, you guys, thank you for showing up for yourselves, for your community, for your businesses, for your learning. I challenge you to reconnect with your whys. And Cami, I am actually going to be back on Oahu August 6th through 8th. My son has another soccer camp. And I think doing a vision board event or something like that might also be something that if you guys want to consider, I would be happy to help with. So let's talk more. And if it's not that weekend, I'm happy to fly back and do a weekend of events with our Oahu group. I'm always willing to do that. So let's chat about that. Okay. I know you guys are gearing up for a new school year, but if you're willing to make some time and get some people there, I'm definitely willing to make it happen. Love you all. Have a great night. Bye. Go slay those goals.